I'm excellent. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Welcome to the Global Virtual Summit 2025, Carrie.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to be part of this.
And before starting your session, I want to introduce you to our audience, Carrie.
Okay.
Yeah. Carrie Williams is a certified professional coach and Amazon best-selling author who helps individuals and businesses accelerate their success. She is a sought after keynote speaker, workshop facilitator, and one-on-one coach specializing in leadership, stress management, business growth, and team development. Carrie has worked with top law firms, entertainment companies, and big four financial firms. Her book, Eyes on the Price, offers practical guidance on achieving meaningful goals. As a founder of Rain Shadow Coaching and a master certified coach with the ICF, she brings deep expertise and leadership to the coaching field. You have done really great work, Carrie, and you can proceed with your presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to see all people are still coming into this session. So that is wonderful and exciting. So my name is Carrie Williams. I'm an executive and leadership coach based here in Los Angeles, California. And my job is to help my clients exceed, excel, and surprise themselves in really brilliant, beautiful ways. So today we're going to talk about how we can create all-in mindset for ourselves and for our teams, how we can get better engagement, get more enthusiasm, and get more commitment overall, both for ourselves and for the people we work with. And I hope that you're really enjoying the lessons that you're learning today. I know that there have been a plethora of speakers before me on so many different topics. And what I love about a conference like this is that everybody is a thread. Every speaker that you're listening to is a really great thread, and you get to pick the threads that are beautiful to you or that resonate with you or that work for you and your business and what you're trying to build and create. And you can take a thread from over here and a thread from over there and weave your own beautiful, unique tapestry. So my hope today is that I am one of the threads that you choose to weave into your tapestry. And if not, I'm at peace because I know there's so many other gorgeous threads that you can be using. So thank you for taking time out of your busy, busy day. I know time is our most important commodity. And I appreciate you taking the time to be here to learn from me and learn with me. We're going to talk about all-in mindset. And I'd like to start with a story. How many of you know what a sea cucumber is? I live in Los Angeles now, but I grew up on a small island in Alaska, and it was pretty rugged and it was pretty outdoorsy. And in our junior high, grade 7 and grade 8, they have survival class as part of science class. So in grade 8, they take a whole group, all of the 8th grade students they take, and they put on a different island or in a different place where they can't get home, and they dump you on this island. And all you have for survival is an empty coffee can. And in that coffee can, you get one big black garbage bag. You get 2 fish hooks, some fishing line, a pocket knife, a fire starter, 5 matches, and then you can stuff whatever space is left over with whatever you want. Most kids stuffed it with food. And that was it. And they left you out in the wilderness with the chaperones for about 3 days. And for those of you that like reading, it was a little bit like Lord of the Flies, but without the brutality of it. For the first day, we all kind of hunkered down and just tried to wait it out. The second day, people started fishing and looking for food. And one of the sea creatures that we have in Alaska is the humble little sea cucumber. And don't worry, I'm not showing you a picture of poo, and this is not pornography. This is a picture of a sea cucumber. And I'm sure you're thinking, Carrie, why are you showing me a picture of this little lump? It looks pretty unimpressive. But here's what's impressive about a sea cucumber. When a sea cucumber feels threatened or challenged or out of its comfort zone, a sea cucumber is really unique. It doesn't camouflage itself. It doesn't get bigger. It doesn't get aggressive. It doesn't fight. It also doesn't retreat and hide. So it doesn't try and protect itself. When a sea cucumber is in a moment of challenge, uncomfortable, chaos, what a sea cucumber does is it doubles down on being a sea cucumber. A sea cucumber, when it feels threatened, just gets more sea cucumbery. And what I mean by that is a sea cucumber, it looks like a little squishy slug almost. And that's what it feels like. But when it feels threatened, here's what a sea cucumber does. It goes, bleh, and it spits its guts out. So its guts are literally on the outside. And so whatever was threatening it or about to attack it goes, oh man, no. That's way too much for me. That's too much sea cucumber. I'm out of here. And it will leave the sea cucumber alone. How does this pertain to us? Well, in times of chaos like now, in times of mayhem, in times of uncertainty, when things feel out of control or we feel particularly challenged, our inclination as human beings is to pull back, to put up a shield, to put up a wall, to put up defenses, to protect ourselves, or to be aggressive and push whatever threatens us away. And I am hoping that you might be willing, at least in this conversation and maybe for the next few days, to be a sea cucumber. When you feel challenged or uncomfortable, don't try and put on a facade and pretend to be something that you're not. Don't try and puff yourself up and feel better about yourself. Just really double down into your authenticity and who you are and what you're bringing to the table. Because in times of chaos and uncertainty, we don't need less of you. We need more of you. We need all of you in your authentic, messy self. So if you take nothing else from this conversation today, I hope this encourages you to be a brave little sea cucumber. And when you're feeling like you pull back and hesitate, lean in and show your guts in their great glory. We're here to talk about the all-in mindset. And the all-in mindset is a methodology that I've created. And the all-in mindset is really about showing up fully, mind, body, and spirit, with the belief that success comes not just from what you do, but from how you are doing it. So all-in mindset is grounded in the understanding that the stories that we tell ourselves are what shape our reality, and they influence how we think and how we feel and what we do. So to have an all-in mindset means embracing resilience, embracing intentionality and commitment. And it's the ability to confront challenges with courage and reframe limiting beliefs to empowering truths and take consistent, aligned action towards your goals. It's a little bit the ability to be a brave little sea cucumber. It's about developing the mental and emotional strength to stay focused and adaptable. And even, not just even when, but most especially when the path gets tough. So through mindset mastery, through intentional being, through strategic doing, the all-in mindset empowers you to unlock your full potential. Now, this mindset is not about perfection, and it is about showing up fully engaged and learning from your setbacks and choosing to rise with purpose and integrity. So those who are driven by an all-in mindset aren't just about achieving, although that is a byproduct of being all in. They're driven by having a deep alignment between their values and their actions and their vision for success. So if this is a thread that you want to weave into your tapestry, pay attention, please. So my story as a coach, the all-in mindset idea really came to fruition during the pandemic. That's where the seeds of this came from. Because when we all pulled back and contracted, I watched some of my clients really thrived. They didn't just survive through this change and this chaos. They really thrived. And I started paying attention to figure out what was it that was so special about these individuals. What were they doing that others weren't? Because a lot of companies were crumbling, were falling by the wayside, were disappearing. And a lot of individuals who were strong and had amazing coping skills and an amazing support structure, when that got rocky in the time of the pandemic, they crumbled as well. So I jokingly with my husband, I like to call myself a delicate flower, which is funny because I'm pretty rugged having grown up in Alaska. And so I'm like, I'm just a delicate flower. And I giggle like a girl. And I think it's really endearing and it's cute. And then I thought about it. I don't want to be a delicate flower. The people who survived and thrived in the pandemic and in times of chaos, they're not delicate flowers. A delicate flower needs pristine, perfect conditions to thrive. And if the circumstances around them are not absolutely perfect, they wither, they wilt, they die, or they just don't bloom. And that's not what I want to be. So I thought a little more about what I want to be. And I've decided I want to be a mushroom. I want to learn to thrive in shit. I want to learn to take the worst circumstances and grow faster and further than I thought I could grow. Mushrooms can grow anywhere. There are some mushrooms that are so amazing, they glow in the dark. So in darkness, they're a beacon of light for themselves and for others. Mushrooms are medicine. They can heal entire systems. They can stop a cell from mutating. And there are some mushrooms that are just a lot of fun, but those aren't the ones that we're talking about today. So that's my second ask of you. If you have the opportunity, don't be a delicate flower. Delicate flowers are beautiful and not long lasting. Be a mushroom, because mushrooms are interwoven, they're interconnected, they communicate across forest floors, they communicate across systems, and they thrive in shit. And sometimes, pardon my language, the world is filled with a lot of shit and we have to thrive in it. So we're going to talk about the elements of the all-in mindset. And also, to talk about that, we first have to talk about goal setting and why we fail at goal setting. So if you have a pen and paper, or even just in your head, I want you to brainstorm what you think the top reasons for goal failure are. Why do you think people don't reach their goal? Why do you think when a client comes to me as an executive coach and they say, Carrie, here's what I want to achieve, and I say, great, what's holding you back from reaching that? What do you think they tell me? The top reasons that I am given by individuals and organizations for not reaching a goal is they don't have enough time. There's not enough time, they're too busy, or they don't know how to prioritize what's coming at them. How many of you had that on your list? The second reason giving is I'm just not motivated, or I've lost my motivation. So they lose the excitement, they lose the desire, or when it gets hard and challenging, they kind of give up because they're just not enthusiastic anymore, or their momentum stalls out completely. And then the third excuse that I hear, or not even excuse, but justification or reason that I hear, is there's just not enough resources. I don't have enough. It's not just time. I don't have enough money, or I don't have the team, or I don't have the clients, or I don't have the reach, or I don't have the network. How many of you had at least one of those on the reasons you think that you don't reach your goals? Now, here's the interesting flip of this. When I first gave this presentation, I gave it to a conference full of coaches, a conference full of people who are trained in helping other people get past their belief systems that are holding them back. And so we brainstormed the actual things that are holding our clients back. And we also looked at studies to see what studies said. And what do you think are the actual reasons that people don't reach their goals? The first one is fear. People don't reach their goals, sometimes because they're afraid of failing and the humiliation and embarrassment or frustration that will cause, and sometimes they're afraid of succeeding. Isn't it interesting that there's equal amounts of fear on both ends of that spectrum? The second real reason that people don't reach their goals is they have limiting beliefs that hold them back. These competing commitments that are in their head, so they can't act fully and wholeheartedly. So they have thoughts and mindsets and beliefs that conflict with the actions that have to be taken to reach those goals. And the third thing that really holds people back is a lack of commitment. And I define a lack of commitment as an unwillingness to invest what it will take to reach the goal. So quick example, I had somebody who I was working with them in a business, but they also wanted to lose weight and improve their health. And they said, Carrie, I want to lose 50 pounds. And I really want us to work on that in part of our work together. And I said, great, we can absolutely do that. Do you have 50 pounds to lose? And they said, yes, I do. And I said, okay, let's move forward. And they said, but wait, before we start, I just have to tell you a few things. And I said, I'm all ears. Tell me what I need to know. And they said, I'm not willing to cut anything out of my diet, and I'm not willing to count calories. I really don't want to make a major shift in my diet. I eat pretty healthy food. I don't eat too much food, so I'm not willing to make any changes there. And I said, okay. And they said, and I want to reach this goal in 6 months. And I said, okay. And then they said, and I don't have a lot of time to work out, and I don't like to get sweaty. So any workouts I do, I can't sweat, and I only have about an hour a week to dedicate to this. So this to me was a perfect example of a client coming to me and giving me a perfectly achievable goal, one that they could absolutely reach. But because they were not willing to invest what was needed for success in terms of time, in terms of being uncomfortable, in terms of changing some habits, they made their goal impossible. And no surprise, they didn't reach that goal. So the real reasons we don't reach our goal are fear, limiting beliefs, and a lack of commitment. So I want to ask you, and I know that we're not in the type of conference where you can hop off and shout out your answers to me, which I wish you were, because I love hearing your voices. What is the greatest fear that you think is holding you back? What is stopping you from being your best self and achieving the goals that you want to achieve? And you can actually share this in chat, because now I can see the chat. So you don't have to share your goal, but if you want, or your fear, but if you want to be a brave sea cucumber and just go, bleh, share your fear in the chat with us. Because here's what I promise. If we were doing this live, I'd ask you to be really brave and stand up and share your fear. And you would then see everybody in the room that has the same fear as you do. Our fears are universal. How we respond to them and move forward is what's unique. So once I realized what stopped my clients from really reaching their goals, and I paired that with the habits of my really successful clients, this idea of an all-in mindset started to take place. And the all-in mindset really has 4 solid elements. It is mindset shifts, reframing those mindset beliefs that are holding you back. It is mental resilience, having the fortitude and the strength to pick yourself up from failure, not only to pick yourself up, but to really embrace the growth and the learning that comes from failure. It is replacing motivation, which is a 4-letter word, with momentum, because motivation is fickle and fleeting. Motivation is based on your emotions. You have to feel excited. You have to feel enthusiastic. You have to feel energetic about it. And the problem is our motivations, our emotions are meant to be momentary feelings. They're meant to ebb and flow. And so if we're putting the motivation on goal achievement based on motivation, we're going to fail. So instead, we're going to flip that to momentum. Momentum is steady, incremental moves forward towards an achievement or a goal. And then the 4th thing is being intentional, because all in commitment isn't just about what you're doing. It is about how you're showing up and who you are being while you are doing it. So today we're really going to focus on the next few minutes on mindset shifts, because this is the most important thing. I could talk for days on all-in mindset, but let's just talk on mindset shifts. So here's a few tools and techniques that I use with my clients. If they come up with a mindset, a belief that is holding them back, a fear that is holding them back, this might work with the fear that you just identified for yourself, right? The first step is to use the language "and also." If any of you have an improv background, which I do, in improv, the first rule you learn is yes and. You never say no, you never say but, you always say yes and. With mindset, we want to also say and also. So you could say, if your fear was, I'm too old to be doing this career transition, you would say, I'm too old to be making this career transition. And also, I have a plethora of experience and a life of wisdom to help me on this journey. So add the end also. The second tool is to find the gift. In every failure, in every bit of chaos, in every crisis, in every hardship, there is a gift. I lost my mom 13 years ago to cancer, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And there was a gift in it because I was strong enough to be there for her through that journey. And I got through it. And I know that by getting through that journey with her, I can get through any journey with anyone. And that strength and that resilience was a gift that was given because I went through the hard thing with my mom. So even in the worst times of life where we don't feel like there is a silver lining, if you can find the gift, you're starting a mindset shift. I want to be really conscious of time. And so I want to skip ahead. If any of you want to know more about the Yet tool or the Act As If tool or the Best Worst tool, please reach out. I'm always excited to have a conversation with any and everyone. My email is Carrie, Carrie, at rainshadowcoaching.com. It's pretty simple, but I really want to share the willingness spectrum with you because what I've discovered is the foundation of mindset and the foundation of resilience and the foundation of momentum. It's willingness. And so I want you to ask yourself, when you look at the goal that you've set for yourself, how willing are you? How willing are you to be brave, to make change, to try, to put energy and investment in when you're not certain of the outcome? How willing are you to potentially fall on your face, knowing that you'll learn from it and you'll grow from it and you'll gain from it? But how willing are you to take a gamble when there's no guarantee? Give a name to your level of willingness. Because what I've discovered is there is a spectrum of willingness, and we all move along this spectrum all throughout our day. On every single situation, we have a different level of willingness. The far side of the spectrum is the person who is unwilling. They are unwilling to change. They are unwilling to learn. They are unwilling to compromise. They are unwilling to shift. So many of us put all our energy helping that person to shift, to try and get them to move up the spectrum. If someone is truly unwilling, you are unable to move them up the spectrum. Then there's resentful willing, which is I'm willing, but I really don't want to. Reluctant willing, I'm willing, but it's going to be hard and I don't know about it. And you can see the different levels of willingness to all in, full, 100% committed willing. And when you get to 100% committed willing, you are unstoppable. You're unstoppable and unmovable. So I am happy to share the spectrum of willingness with anyone who wants a copy of it. For those of you who want to connect, if you want to learn more about the all-in community, I have started a community of like-minded people who really want to practice this all-in theory and put it to the test. You can join us in that community. If you want to have a conversation with me about getting yourself all in or about any of the things that I've talked about, you can use this QR code and have a conversation with me and connect. But I encourage you, whatever you learn from today, be a brave little sea cucumber and run with it. Be a mushroom and thrive even in the chaos. And when you feel uncertain, double down on your authenticity, because you being you and bringing your wholehearted, whole-minded self is what's going to make a difference in today and tomorrow. So Melinda, I see that you've hopped back in the room, and I also know that there's a couple questions in the chat. Do I have time to answer one of those questions or two of them? And if I don't hear from you, I'm just going to do it. So Evelyn asked, what are the biggest mindset shifts needed to lead with confidence today? And I think one of the most important things we need to do to lead with confidence today is to stop comparing ourselves to others. Stop comparing ourselves with ourselves on our best day. Stop comparing yourself to the person next to you. You're on a different journey with different experience, and you're bringing a different gift. So focus on what you have and not what you don't. And that's the first step. Hi, Melinda.
Yeah. Hi, and thank you for your valuable presentation, Carrie. And I want to ask you one question.
Yes.
Yeah. How can bold leadership help build unshakable teams?
Ask me that question again.
How can bold leadership help to build unshakable teams?
How can bold leaders help to build unshakable teams?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing is you have to be unshakable yourself, right? So we start with this work for ourselves. We can't expect our teams to be better than we are. In terms of, we can expect our teams to be smarter than we are. We can expect our teams to work well together, but we can't expect our teams to be bolder or more unshakable than we are. So the first thing as leaders is we have to do this mindset work ourselves. And then the second thing is we have to align the team values. So many times we just assume we're all on the same page because we're being paid to work together and do the same thing and have the same goal, that we skip over the point of having the conversation and setting team agreements. What do we believe in as a team? What do we value as a team? How do we plan to show up for ourselves and for each other? And what are we committed to as a team? And I know that takes a little extra time in the planning stage, but it saves so much time in execution if you can do that.
Yes, what you said is absolutely correct. And this is a very informative session, Carrie. And thank you so much for your valuable time.
Thank you so much for having me. And please, I hope people reach out and connect.
Yeah.
And maybe this will be a thread in your tapestry moving forward. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And be on the backstage and please join in our next session, Carrie.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye-bye.